Okay.
Hey, have you ever heard about that outside circle show that they do?
Yeah. It sounds like they're doing theirs this year.
Yeah, yeah. That
Last
sounds
I
like a
talked to
pretty
him,
good
anyways.
deal.
Yeah. Last time I talked to him, he said they were still planning on moving forward, and so as far as I know, it's our show and Outside Circle that's still going. The rest of I don't know what anybody else is doing. I know the Folk Life Center canceled their part, so like the actual gathering itself is not not there. But yeah, so
What they
I
cancel it for?
COVID.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Well, me and my boy went and watched Joe Rogan last night on his Sacred Clown comedy tour.
No shit.
Yeah, it was freaking funny. I think Tony
Where
Hinchcliffe
at?
was funnier than in Tulsa.
Nice. At the casino there?
Yeah,
Or? Hell yeah.
no, it's at the their
Oh,
BOK
they played the
Convention
arena,
Center.
huh?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
and it was packed, and there was maybe 3 people with masks on there. Everybody else was
No
like,
shit.
"Fuck it, they're over it."
That's
Yeah.
I've been watching. I just watched. Well, this is Oren Larson. Tony, or um, what Tracy has already watched part of this, and uh, I haven't been able to get home in time to really start from the beginning, and there's just about everybody that I've had on's in the same boat. So I'm restarting it and watching it from the get go. Oren Larson's got a great mustache, but um, yeah, I was watching in the crowd here in Vegas. You see a few people here and there with a mask, but for the most part, even in Vegas is pretty like they're pretty strict on that shit. They're like
Yeah.
California light, and even there, they're I mean, it looks like nobody gives a shit about the masks, so that's a good thing.
No.
Omicron. It's gonna get you.
It's always going to be something, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um. Yeah. So how was you said Tony Hinchcliffe was pretty good, huh?
He, if he wasn't funnier than Joe Rogan, it was damn close.
Hell yeah.
That guy is. That guy will say shit that makes me blush. I'm like, damn, how did he get away with saying that?
Yeah. I kind of like watching his podcast, Kill Tony, because it's
Yes,
um he always gets some really good guests on.
right.
That was a nice little bareback ride there. Ooh, kind of. They call it a foul off the gate. Maybe not. Either way, that was a good ride. That was a pretty ride. That's about as pretty as you can make a saddle bronc. That is so hard to make a saddle or I mean not saddle bronc, but bareback ride, like to make it look pretty.
Oh yeah.
Like where you don't have those stirrups, it's so hard to. I mean, like you got to get a really good horse to make it look pretty.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Otherwise, you just look like a rag doll strapped to it
Hmm.
up there. You
Yeah,
know.
he had this big. It was I forget who it was, but that second guy up with that big paint that just had that really pretty natural
Yeah.
stride, and they made it look good. This was a nice one too, but yeah, I mean it's a lot easier to make it look pretty with saddle bronc.
Yeah.
I mean bareback. I mean, oof. That's man. Those guys' necks have got to just be fucked all the time.
It hurts me just watching them.
Yeah, yeah. I know they got that pad and everything back there, but I
Good
wonder
Lord.
what the CTE rate is on bareback.
Have you been around a bunch of those bareback guys?
I've
I
been
think
been
it's
around a
pretty high because
few.
half of them are they're goofier than shit.
Well,
So I
but
think it's pretty
they
high.
kind of start out that way too. So I like it's hard to tell if it's that the actual pounding from the bronc or just compounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a lot of compound. But yeah, they're tough bastards. I'll give them that.
Oh man.
Um, when you were coming up,
What's that?
I said, did you rodeo much?
No, shoot, no. I calf roped a little bit, but that's more my brother's deal. He's calf roping some bitch.
Yeah, I I just I was never. I rode colts a little bit, but I didn't like hitting the ground, so I didn't willingly get on something that I knew was gonna
I've got
buck or
on a
that.
few ranch broncs at some of those ranch rodeos,
Yeah,
but I, I could fork them, but it wasn't pretty,
yeah.
at all.
I always said I'm a stayer honor, not a stomper. I'm a bronc
Right.
stayer honor. That's about as good. I was sticky enough to stay on. I never made it look good.
Yeah. Yeah, most
I
time the reason I stayed on is because I was afraid he was going to stomp on me when I got underneath him. So I just
well,
tried to stay on the top side.
and also it was gonna hurt when you hit. So like
Yeah,
I was trying to get their head pulled around.
you bet.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was. But these, I don't know. That like I like watching bareback well enough, but I really like watching a good saddle bronc ride.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
me too.
I just I like the NFR just for the tradition, but I just once again it's just kind of another rodeo, and I don't
Yeah,
I just don't watch rodeo too much. But I mean these and they're all kids now. I mean shit, I'm 36, so they're
yeah. I look at
only.
some of those roughies, and I'm like, damn, are they even old enough to vote?
I
Shit.
know, like I look at it now, and like the only ones that are my age are basically just barrel racers and team ropers. That's about
Yeah,
the only ones left that are,
I know it.
over 35. That's and yeah, so everybody else is just as a kid, and then you look at some of the like we got steer wrestling coming up, and oof, some of the dudes that are steer wrestling now like I mean, just a big old mammoth jammas, and
I
then
know it.
or just like bean poles, but they know how to set their hip, and
You bet.
it's wild. Like, it's funny watching this stuff progress. Like how much better these guys are than they used to be.
Yeah, my brother shoes a horse for an older gentleman, and his dad was a calf roping champion in like 1946, and he's got a framed picture of him from Life magazine of him calf roping this deal. This freaking calf probably weighs 450, 500 pounds. It ain't like
Yeah,
these. It ain't like
I,
these little ones they rope now.
I've seen that picture. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah,
like pretty famous picture.
yeah.
Well, I was when I was there at Cactus. Oh, they just finished up the bareback, I think. Maybe they might have a few more left. I'm not paying very close attention, but the head vet there at Cactus at the time, Carter King, he was telling me when he was calf roping back in the day, and he said I used to think I was pretty good, and I'd get up, if I was real good, I'd get maybe a 10.5 second run, something like that. And he's like, and then all of a sudden these kids started showing up wearing ball caps and sneakers, and then run down there and throw an 8 second calf. And he's like, that's when I decided just I'm my days.
Well, see, I'm watching tie down right now, and this kid just roped one and got the rope all janky on him. Ran down the rope, and the calf jumped out of it. And he jumped on that calf, flanked it, and tied it in 11.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that used to be a world record.
right.
It's just amazing what the starting point. Like, when I was in high school, Cody O was back in his heyday. When he was breaking records and shit. And
That
and
buckle rubbing son of a bitch used to aggravate the shit out of me every
oh
time
man, he was the Tom Brady of the cowboy world. Like,
Yes,
you hated him, but you couldn't deny that he was just that fucking good.
that son of a bitch could tie one down in a hurry.
Oh man. And then he blew out his knee, cut his rope, and still won the world. And you're just like, as big of a cocksucker as he is, what are you gonna
You
say to
got to
that?
give him cred,
What are you gonna say to that?
No shit.
Tanner, what's up, buddy?
Oh, not much, man. Not
We're
much.
what we're still on the bareback. I started it over just because, yeah, fuck it. I think everybody's at different starting points right now. So
we do what we want.
yeah, fuck off.
No, y'all talking about Cody O, that cracks me up because he's like he was a asshole, but gosh damn, you can't deny his ability. The last year he made the finals, he was riding that Pearl horse, and he didn't even start rodeoing until June.
Yeah.
And he rodeoed. He won 50,000 in June, and then he turned around. I think I don't remember if he won Cheyenne in July, but he won like Salinas and maybe I don't know if he won Cheyenne, but he placed at Cheyenne. And then he come into the NFR like, I think he was like number 9 or number 10 in the world and only rodeoed for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Everybody else rodeoed all year long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane.
Look, and I'm just going to go to a few and make the NFR. And I was like, nobody else could do that. And then they wind up screwing him in the 10th round, and Shane Hankey win it. And I can't stand that son of a bitch. I just don't like him. He's just a cocky, arrogant son of a bitch. And I mean, it's one thing if you rope as good as Cody O. It's a whole nother thing when you don't rope as good as Cody O and you're still that arrogant and an asshole.
Yeah.
Like I don't. That does rub me the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like if you're gonna be an asshole, like you better have a good reason for it.
Yeah.
I just didn't like him because he'd wear them goddamn black jeans when he first started out. That used to just drive me fucking crazy. Wear some goddamn blue jeans like everybody else, you fucking idiot.
You know who?
It was the 90s. It was cool.
Oh yeah, another guy that really rubbed some people the wrong way was Fred Whitfield. Like you'd find out real quick, fast, in a hurry who was a racist when Fred Whitfield was winning rounds at the NFR. Whoo! He pissed some people off now.
Oh, big time. And it was everywhere. I mean, it wasn't just at the finals. Like you go to these, because my dad rodeoed with Fred for a while there. And so I got to know him. And, that guy, I'll never forget how nice he was to me, and didn't have to be because I'm a nobody. But that guy, when I was a kid, he would stop talking to somebody if he saw me walk by and come shake my hand and ask me how I was doing.
Cool.
That's the kind of guy he is. He's a good sucker. I love him to death. But you go to those rodeos and like we were up in the slack or something, and that somebody said, "Oh, that fucking nigger," just because he like spit one out, and I would be like, dude, what does his color of his skin have to do with anything? Like that just blew my mind as a kid. I was like, why would that bother you just because he's a black guy? Like you don't say anything when a white guy ties one that fast. Like who gives a shit?
Yeah. Well,
the reason they didn't like him is because there's no way they could fucking keep up with his athleticism. He was the most athletic son of a bitch out there.
Well, he would also let you know it too, which was also what I kind of liked about him. Like he like you said, I've always heard he was a really, really nice guy. Like if you weren't competing with him, but everybody that competed with him said, "Boy, he was the biggest cocksucker." I've heard a handful of people. But
shit. When a guy takes your money time and time again, he's a fucking bastard.
Yeah. but he also
donate my money to that son bitch.
Yeah, and he would let you know he was fast too. That's that was the part that I think that really rubbed some people the wrong way. You know, there's always those people that are good and they know it, but I don't know. I never got the feel that he was like an arrogant prick. You know, like he cocky, but like he backed it up too. You know,
Yeah.
when he'd come out there and run out of 6-7, you know, at round 5 in Vegas, you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah. I'll never forget, we were at Denver one year, and I was probably 14 or 15 years old, and I would always go down there with my dad, and because I mean it's kind of, I don't know, like I never paid to get into a rodeo anywhere. I was like, I'm not paying y'all to watch this thing. Like, like I just grabbed the picking string out of the trailer and put it around my neck like a calf roper and just walked in like I owned the place, and nobody would ever say anything. And so I walked down there with Dad, and we're looking at the calves, and me and Dad and Tommy Guy and Fred Whitfield and I don't know, a few other guys, and Joe Beaver was there, I think, and like we were just sitting there talking about the calves and stuff. Well, then the line judge looks over there at me and he goes, "Hey, come here." And I was like, "Okay." So I walked over there and he goes, "You roping tonight?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Stand on the line. I got to go take a leak." And so I get to stand on the line and be the line judge at the Denver rodeo during the perf on Saturday night one night.
Hell yeah.
No
That's
shit.
Awesome.
And I can't remember what Fred called that sorrel horse he rode, but he was really nice. And Fred ropes one and ties him in a hat size. I mean, like he's like 7'1" on him, and that calf gets up, and I was like, shit. Well, then the team roping was the next of his next event, and my dad was team roping too, and so we got done with the calf roping, and Fred, he rides back around there behind the box and gets off his horse, and he walks out there and stands by me on the line, and he goes, "What'd you think about my run?" And I was like, "You had him back on the ground, so fast. I would have put 2 on him, but I mean, that's the gamble you take when you stick a rat in the hooey on one." He goes, "I knew I should have put 2 on that bitch."
Yeah, and he probably wouldn't have asked you if he didn't know it too.
Yeah, he knew exactly. And I mean, but shit happens. I mean, just like Shad's calf getting up last night. I mean, sometimes they kick up, which that was Shad's horse's fault. That horse pulled and choked that calf, and he went to kicking. That was the only thing that caused Shad's calf to get up last night.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he had him tied tight too. It wasn't like the night before when he had him stacked and just stuck a wrap in the hooey on him, and lucky enough to win the round. But shit happens.
Yeah, and man, what there? I guess all rodeo events really have like those really like fraction of a second type moments, but I don't know. It seems like calf roping's one of those ones where like everything it's so much timing, and
but it's all timing.
Yeah, so much timing. I mean, just like the way, the way you're pulling your string, the way you're setting your leg. I mean, like the way you're hitting the ground before any of that happened. Just the way you hit the ground, and I don't know. I guess, like I said, they're all kind of timing based events. That one's everything happens so quick that.
Yeah, it's just if you don't have that timing, it's like it feels like crap. It looks like crap. Like if you ever bobble, it just seems like everything takes forever. Like if you miss string one, it seems like it takes 5 minutes to get them tied.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, and that's where you see a lot of guys getting a speed jam. Instead of just slowing. And my granddad always told me when I was a kid, he'd say, "Slow down and be fast," and I would be like, that makes no sense. That's like an oxymoron, I don't get that. And then after I got a little bit older and I started roping a little bit better, then I figured out what he was saying. And then he would tell me, rope 3/4 speed, don't rope 100%, ropes 75%. But because if you go too fast, you're going to get in a jam. You'll miss string one, you'll drop a leg, you'll do some little thing that'll cost you time. But if you rope 3/4 speed and just be smooth, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and
yeah.
So that was kind of always the policy, was like, just slow down and be fast.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like, it's amazing how it, even in such like a time sensitive deal, like a, tie down rope, and but like that's one of the basic things that you learn from as a, when you work cattle, is just slow is smooth, smooth is fast, or fast is, slow is slow is fast, fast is slow. That just, you gotta move slow, deliberate, and that makes shit efficient. Because the slower you are, the easier your cattle handle, and it just,
the quicker you get done.
Yeah, and it's amazing how that translates so well, even to a timed event like rodeo.
Yeah. And I guess it goes for every event too, because like if you get ahead of a bull and override him, you're going to get your ass bucked off. So I mean, you've got to, everything's stop and go. You hustle up, and then you've got to wait and hustle up and wait, and just keep that timing. Or, I mean, like I said, I don't think it matters what event you're doing. You've got to have that.
Yeah, well, and you see like somebody make, even on the barrels, which nobody really pays much attention to, but you can you can see when they're making a really good run, and then all of a sudden they just like charge into the third barrel, and you're just like, well, set up a minute and take that run like it's supposed to be taken, or make that turn instead of just plowing through, but you can see just like their eyes get a little bit wide, and or like when somebody's really trying to knock a hole in one's shoulder, it just like, but then they get ahead of themselves, and
yeah. Well, and that's the same thing Haley Kinsel did last night. She just got a little quick with her right hand on that first barrel and rolled it over.
Yeah.
And that's just getting in a little bit of a hurry, and not letting your horse get, if she'd have let her get just a fraction of a second by that barrel, she would have been fine. But she just got a little quick with her right hand and pulled her around on top of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to give a shout out to the most dangerous part of rodeo, and it's not the bull riders. It's them guys that's leading them goddamn barrel horses down the fucking alley that get rolled time and time again and keep doing it.
Oh man.
That's awful.
Man. Yeah. Like
they're the real heroes.
They
yes, they are.
Like we need some sort of like support group for those guys.
Yeah. They can go on the line too. Who's going to get rolled up?
I bet you there probably is some sort of barrel racing husband
support group.
Yeah. I would bet that there is, and it's probably, at the nearest bar to whatever barrel race they're at.
So at somebody's trailer where the cooler's at.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Somebody's trailer that they bought that don't even want to even have anything to do with horses, but yet their wife barrel races, so they got a $100,000 bloomer with another $100 horse in the and so like, well, might as well drink it. I'm going to be paying for this for a while, so let's just drink.
Let's just have a whiskey.
Might as well put it on my tab. Oh shit!
What's funny is like there's some I've got some friends, and my wife's got some friends that train barrel horses, and my wife trains barrel horses and stuff too. So, but like we get our horses like broke because I use them on the ranch. Like those suckers will ride around. They're not just and I've got a really good friend, and her husband's a hell of a cowboy too, and really good horseman, ropes really good and everything. And like we'll be at those barrel races, and me and him will be riding around shooting the shit, just riding one of our colts or one of their colts or something, and they're running horses, and we're videoing and shooting the shit and just doing the husband thing. And like we get to laughing because like it's not the girls that are like really good at it. It's the girls that are like the weekend warriors, and they buy a horse that's way too much, and they think that and they blow them up, and then they can't get them in the arena, and it's just a mess. And you're just like, golly, man, like how do you let your horses get like that?
I know.
I mean, it's insane.
But yeah, it's the same way with people's kids too. You're just like, it's hard. It's really hard to be mad at the kids at some point when you just see their parents not doing shit, and you're just like, well, no wonder.
Yeah,
no wonder.
They got to have a little guidance. If they don't have, it's like a horse. They don't got no training. They ain't gonna be worth the shit.
Yeah, I mean, just like,
Yeah.
you can't hardly blame them for being an asshole at that point.
No, it just kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah. Yeah, Wednesday, folks, we got a good episode. Well, Tracy, you may have already, I don't know if you tuned into it today,
Yeah.
but that was a good episode. Mackenzie Johnston, that's a firecracker of a lady.
Yeah, she kind of seems like she don't take much shit off nobody.
No, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed that one. She's yeah, she and I it wasn't more than probably 10-15 minutes after I posted that, that we're getting ready to talk, and somebody was already commenting, sending me a message. She's like, she doesn't know shit. And so I sent her a screenshot of it, and she's like, yeah, I don't know what that guy's deal is. He's made several posts about me, and he never has. It was like, what did he say? He's like, ask the real reason she got fired from Nebraska Cattlemen's, and I was like, so what was the real reason? Like, do you know? Like, she told me what her reason was. Is there another reason? Because I'm interested. I never did hear back from him, so.
Well, shit, no.
Damn keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
yep.
Pretty much.
I wish Apple would come out with a I'm going to punch you in the face emoji, and it actually fucking happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, there's
fuck around and find out emoji.
Yeah.
See, like, yeah, I like that a lot. It was kind of like when Nate Diaz and they weren't either up for world championship, but everybody wanted to see him fight so bad. They're like, all right, who's the baddest motherfucker? And like that belt was probably worth more than the actual world championship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. Like fuck around and find out emoji. Like that's that should be a thing. Like we're already going into the metaverse where they can read our thoughts and shit. So might as well just give them a little just crap right to the mouth. But the thing is, like, it has to be a two-way deal. So like when somebody talks shit, somebody can push the fuck around and find out emoji, and if the person who's talking shit is that willing to do, like, they have to respond. So they either fuck around and find out, or they get a bitch slap. Like, I think that's the only
an automatic bitch slap.
Fuck around and find out. You might come out ahead. There's a chance ahead. But if not, if you don't even try to find out, you just get bitch slapped.
Yeah. And the other response, I guess, would be, I wish a motherfucker would, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you find out if somebody would.
Yeah.
Find out how tough you are. Like, yeah, I like that. So, like, yeah, fuck around and find out. And that means somebody has to respond. And if they don't, they get bitch slapped. I like that. I like that.
Yes. We need to create
Here
an
we
app.
are solving all the world's problems.
We need an app.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously I have no idea how to make this work, but, like, this should be a thing.
Definitely. It definitely should.
Yeah,
man.
it would solve a lot of the world's problems. Yeah, if somebody would just if they had to back up any of their online shit talk, that would.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got to get somebody to rap on the beat, get a little respect around here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, people will talk shit. Uh, Especially like you see some of the people that talk shit online, and you're just like, man, there's not a chance you would say that to anybody in real life. Not a
Yeah,
chance.
not a snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah, but I don't know
I
that's
gouge.
I love social media. I think it's a beautiful thing, but I think that yeah, there needs to be a little less insulation from what you say online versus what the repercussions are.
Oh, I
I'm
know.
I'm 100%
Hell, anymore.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hell, anymore. It's not just online. People just are rude in general, like even like to your face, and it's like, dude, I come from a time not so long ago and not very far away that you would get your ass kicked for talking to somebody like that.
It's funny
You're
though
damn right.
when you confront them about it, they shrink awful fast.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
their
what I
old
was
chili
getting
gets
ready to
limp pretty
say.
quick.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I've brought this up several times, but that whole little league incident with Jerry, as soon as I was in person, that guy was real fucking respectful, you know, like just
Yeah,
real fucking respectful when I was in front of him. And the only person they were disrespectful to that whole time was a woman. And then when I called the dude out on it, I was like, "Hey, man, don't talk to her like that." He didn't have much to say
yeah,
because
A thing happened to
it
me
wasn't
like
on a
that.
fucking keyboard anymore.
yeah. That's wait a minute. This is a little more. This is a little more up close and personal than I'm used to.
Little more intimate. Oh, this dude is getting worked by this steer. Oh, too bad. He lost his legs.
I was at
Oh man,
work,
that
I
and
don't
he
know, a
missed
month or
that one.
so ago,
Go ahead.
and
Sorry.
I was on the phone with my supervisor in my work truck, and this guy come up and rapped on my window and started bitching at me and cussing and stuff. And I rolled my window down, told my supervisor, "Hang on," and I just set the phone down. And that guy was cussing and talking like a crazy man. And I rolled my window down and I said, "Just who the fuck are you talking to like that?" And he goes, "I'm talking to you." And I said, "If I get out of this truck, we're going to have it fucking out right here in this goddamn parking lot." And that's all it took. That motherfucker started crawfishing like a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, people, when it, like you said, when it comes right down to it, they don't want nothing of it.
No, they're not
Stick a
down.
finger in their chest and then they kind of wilt.
Yeah, they get real nice real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, like I'm all about talking some shit. I've you know, shit. I built a whole podcast and stuff about over talking shit, but like you got to know when it's friendly banter, or you
You
also got to
bet.
know when to put up or shut up, and yeah,
Well, all of
there's
us, I'm sure, have had knots put on our head. We know they heal, and we're not afraid to put some on somebody else's either. So,
yeah. Well, that's the thing
it comes
is,
down to it.
well, and it also used to be like when somebody would pop off, you'd pop them in the mouth, you'd wrestle around a little bit, and then you know you'd shake hands, and that was it.
Yeah, them days are over.
Yeah, long
Yeah.
gone.
Now you pop a guy in the jaw, and he goes and grabs a gun, and
Yeah.
Or calls the cops and wants to have you
yeah,
arrested.
yeah. One of the two. Yeah.
I had a guy call the cops on me one time for just pushing him. I was like,
No shit.
yeah. his dog jumped on my dog, and I kicked the shit out of his dog, and he called the cops. And then he come up there and got in my face. And I was like, "Hey, motherfucker! Like, your dog's a whole lot bigger than my dog." And he jumped on my dog, and I kicked him off. Like, what the hell's the problem? And
yeah,
he was a little fag wearing skinny jeans, and he got up in my face and started trying to shoot my ass out. And I shoved him, and like I didn't mean to shove him like his. I shoved him like I'd shove somebody that was my size, you know. And this guy, he may have been 6 foot, but I bet he weighed 110 pounds. And so, like, when I hit him, that son bitch flew back there and hit on his ass cheeks, and he didn't like that much. And his boyfriend was all scared, and they called the cops on me. And the cops got there, and I was like, I don't know what the deal is. And they're like, "Well, did you lay hands on him?" I was like, "Yeah, I pushed him." I said, "Somebody got up in my face." And they're like, "Did you get up in his face?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, there you go. Don't get in my fucking face." I said, "You're lucky I didn't punch your ass. You'd still be laying out there."
Yeah, no shit.
I was like, "Well, I'm going to file simple assault charges on you." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, you know, what does that consist of?" And he's like, "Well, you'll just have to go before the judge, and they'll give you a fine or something." And I was like, "Well, shit, okay." And I was working with the guy that was a cop, that used to be a cop. And so I was telling him about it. He's like, "Dude, they ain't going to file no paperwork on that." He's like, "As soon as the cops left, they just went on about their day. They didn't, I guarantee they didn't file any charges on you."
Yeah.
And so I called and called and called for about 6 months. Every week I'd call and see if I had anything against me, and nothing against me ever. So I guess he was right. They were like, "Screw this. This guy just got his ass pushed. It's not a big deal. Like, we're not wasting the time to do any paperwork on
No
this
shit.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's wild what I don't know. It's amazing how some people have, like, they have no fear of any repercussions anymore. Like then they're
Well, there's
shocked.
no consequence for anything you do. Like,
and then once there is, like, when they finally do get smacked in the mouth, they're like, "Oh my God, you monster."
I'm offended that you've done that.
I need my safe space now.
Where's my cry closet?
I've been on a South Park bender here lately, trying to catch up on South Park, and my God, those guys they were making fun of the shit that I'm making fun of now, but this was like 6 years ago. I was like, I thought I was pretty edgy and cool, but fuck, South Park talked about it 5 years ago.
They beat me to punch.
That's why they're multi-millionaires and I'm not.
Yeah.
That's why they're buying Casa Bonita and we're watching the
NFR. We're punching cows and watching the NFR.
Yeah, they're buying Casa Bonita just because they can.
Shit.
Oh fuck! What a funny show though. God damn, those guys, man, they punch hard.
Yeah, I just like that they don't have, like, they'll talk shit about anybody. Like they're equal opportunity employers there.
Oh man, even some of the shit that I don't necessarily agree with them on, like on like climate change. You know, they did the whole Man Bear Pig is Real episode, and it was funny as fuck. Like it was funny as shit, and I don't even agree with their take on it, but it was funny as hell.
Yeah, it's and you know, I mean, like, hell, that shit wears me out, that climate change bullshit, because shit, that's climate's always changed, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just part of the earth.
They go back to our grandparents and like, "Oh, you guys can fucking control yourself. Now we have Man Bear Pig for real." You fucking assholes. And you're like, "Yeah, they're kind of right too."
That deal I went to last night, that Joe Rogan deal, there was nobody safe at that concert.
Oh, I bet not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I like old Joe Rogan, man. He doesn't pull any punches either.
No,
I tell you,
and that I like
that Tony Hinchcliffe. He's bad. He will say shit that I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I just you got to go towards comedy to find out like what's real and where the line is anymore. You're like find out who the real who the people are that like really don't give a shit, and it's guys like Rogan, it's guys like Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, and even Dave Chappelle like tries to kind of halfway dance around the issue a little bit, but at the end he's still just gonna hit you with a funny fucking joke, and if you don't like it, whatever, and that's all I ask for. It's just I don't even care what your take on life is anymore, but if you're trying to make me laugh, make me fucking laugh. I don't even care if I disagree with you from the deepest pits of my heart. Just make me laugh.
Yeah, that's
well, and there's so much shit that you can say these days that is funny because it's freaking true.
Yeah,
we live in such a crazy freaking society,
and like so many people are just afraid to point out the obvious. Like, is nobody else watching what's happening in front of us? Joe Biden probably shit his pants at the Pope. That is funny as fuck.
It doesn't get much funnier than that.
He clapped his cheeks in front of the Duchess of Cornwall. That's the funniest goddamn thing I've heard, and I don't know how long. Let's make fun of that because it's funny. For no other reason except that it's funny.
You can't even make that shit up. It's so funny.
Right. And guess what? If it was Trump, I would be laughing even harder.
Oh, yeah.
Because he would probably have a better excuse for it.
It was the greatest part ever.
Mm-hmm. It's the Duchess of Cornwall. And I walked in and I said, oh my God, did anybody hear that fart? It was such a great fart. Oh, yeah, it was my fart. You're English. Nobody cares. Sad.
We haven't cared what y'all thought since 1776.
You're a loser. Sad. Yeah, I just...
Take that with your tea and crumpets.
I mean, yeah. And if he tried to play it off, I would make fun of that too, because guess what? The president farting or shitting is funny. I don't care who's in office. It's funny, so let's make jokes about it.
But yeah, you've got to.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of that South Park 20-something years, because they just, if it's funny, they make fun of it. Oh.
Yeah, them guys have been over the top for years.
Yeah.
They were ahead of their time.
Has anybody team roped at Thomas and Mack?
No.
I haven't either.
How can you? That some bitch is tiny.
Man. They're roping so fast. I've never have either, but I've roped in some pretty, I guess, narrow quarters, but like that.
I mean, I've roped at Northside in Fort Worth, and it's pretty much the same setup as Vegas there at the Coliseum at the Stockyards in Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard for me to score because the box is so short in there. And it's like my head horse, he scored really good, and I tore the barrier completely down. Like I didn't even give it a chance to work. Like, well, I thought I saw my start, but I guess I was a little quick on the trigger there.
What? Yeah, and all these guys, man, it's if you're not throwing over the chute, like you're not in the money.
I couldn't believe that Logan Medling and Coleman Proctor won the last hole last night with a leg, which I'm tickled to death because I love Logan. He grew up right about 20 miles from me down here, and he's a good kid, and his dad is just a great guy, and his dad's been in the NFR a handful of times. He's ropes really, really good. Jeff Medlin, he's a hell of a hand.
Yeah, well that's awesome, but yeah, it's got to be tough to rope there. I mean,
Heelan's got to be just as hard as heading there because you've got like one or two jumps before your header gets into the wall, and can't go anywhere.
Well, yeah,
So,
you're not just turning left, but like you're turning left and then probably maybe turning left still.
yeah,
Like you're
Yeah.
all
like,
in 3 jumps.
on those real fast runs, like they're throwing over the chute, and then by the time they're coming tight, that head horse is right back at the chute.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is real quick, and so like your head horse, not only they got to be fast, but they got to be nimble enough to take that corner and then take another corner and then maybe take another corner
And then face the other way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Into the wall.
Like it's not like an L shape. It's more of like a fish hook shape when you're going like it.
Exactly. And that's the thing.
That was a 4.0 right there.
A lot of people don't realize is how badass those head horses really are.
Yeah.
Because it takes a hell of a horse to run toward that wall and that big yellow wall there. Like it takes a hell of a horse to not balk at that and want to go up the wall or stop or do something else.
Or just balk and back up. Yeah. Yeah. It's the horses that make it to this level are. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, there's a reason that they cost $100,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's there's a reason why Trevor Brazil has had the respect of not only rodeo guys, but like because he makes those horses too.
Yeah. And Trevor's such a horseman. And like I talked to Charlie Crawford one time and we were talking about guys and, being good horsemen and stuff. And he's like, everybody I know, like any of us that pro rodeo, like if we have a problem with a horse, Trevor is our first call. Like, what do I need to do with this horse? Because he is such a good horseman. And like, he's like, he can explain it to you over the phone and you can go put it to use, like, it's like, he's such a good guy about, helping everybody out. And, that's just Trevor for you. He's just, and a lot of people are like, he can't be that nice in real life. That's for the cameras, but that's him. That's just him, man. I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah.
He's a good guy behind closed doors. And, I always say that's what integrity is when you're the same everywhere, not just when people can see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When people don't know who you are, you're still the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Begay went for the long shot there. Man, if he would have caught, that would have been a hell of a run. Shit.
I'm going to tell you what, that guy's a cowboy too. I like the shit out of him.
Some of these guys you might have to get me in contact with, Tanner. I know you gotta some of these guys, but there's some of them that I think would be good on the show. I think we ought to get on. Derek Begay is one that I've had requested a couple times, but
yeah, I'd like to. I've never got to meet him, but I would really like to. He's a cool cat, man.
Yeah.
And just came from
what did he haul up there this year? Did he have another half top or did he just
I don't know, probably. It wouldn't surprise me if he showed up with stock racks.
See that Derek Begay pulling up to the NFR in a half top is the same exact thing as Sturgill Simpson taking his Grammy and going out and busking in front of the CMAs. Like that's the same exact type of spirit, and I love it. I fucking love it.
Well, I was afraid I might have to catch something on the way up here, so I brought my half top.
Yeah, I fucking love it, man. You gotta love it.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's I don't know, like those characters. They all, there's a reason they become fan favorites. I mean, fucking D Moss with his stash in the car, like that was it was kind of a spectacle at the time, but then you're just like, no, that's just who he is, and you're like, that's why people loved him. Yeah,
you're just the real deal, like.
Well, and that's why people wrote songs about Wade Sundell, just because he's just a bad motherfucker, It's just like that. He's just always a bad motherfucker.
He reminds me of my buddy Brooks Bland, like just the way he rides Bronx and the way Brooks used to ride Bronx, like because Brooks is the same way. Like he rode ranch Bronx and he would just fan the shit out of one at, every jump, and he he'd always bitch because he couldn't make it. You know, he never did win many bronc ridings like the ranch rodeos and stuff. And I was like, dude, you make those broncs look too easy.
Yeah,
like, I just got off a bronc that was at the NFR, and I fanned him from the first jump. And I'm like, I know, like, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're supposed to make it look tough.
Like, he didn't give a shit. And so
supposed to make them look like they're going to pop your head off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, one year at the Western Heritage at Abilene, he left his hat on and win the bronc riding. And I was like, I told you. And he's like, gosh damn it. He's like, that was the worst ride I've ever put on here. And I win the damn bronc riding with it. And I'm like, that's the way it goes. You make them look too easy, they dock you on that degree of difficulty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. I was telling my wife the other night, I think it might not have been last night before, something like that, but there was a really nice ride, but I was like, yeah, but that horse was nothing. Like, all he did was like jump kick. I mean, it was really a nice horse to look good on, but they scored him like 75, and I was like, man, that's all you can do. Like, you just pound a hole in him, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, you can only do so much.
Yeah. And then there's another one that a guy, I mean, he was just about off about 3 different times, and they scored him in 86 or 87, but like he earned every 87 points of that, you know?
He had to scratch and claw to stay in the
middle
of it.
And you know what? But he still made it look kind of good. Even when he was coming off, he was, you know, it was looking pretty, and then he'd dig a spur in and get back in the middle, and you're just like, fuck. Yeah, they're just something. That's why they judge the horse too.
Right.
You bet.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's funny how you can become such a fan when, like, once a year when it happens. Like, you watch especially like when they get a really good ride and that arena's rocking. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I don't pay much attention the rest of the year, but and I just, like, there's a lot of the rodeo guys that are just kind of douchebags that I don't care for, but when they're that good and they've made it to Vegas, you know, they've earned their spot. They've earned the money to make it there. And you're watching,
just get there by chance.
Yeah, and you're watching the best of the best go at it. It's still pretty. It's hard not to be a.
Who was that calf roper last year that done the backhand? Caught his calf with the backhand.
Shit, yeah, like he had to. Yeah, he had to spank his horse and then did that backhand.
Yeah, he just rolled his rope around, swung backwards, and that was Ryan Jarrett.
Yeah,
there's a reason that he's still going, and he's old as he is. That he's nuts, and he strings everything from the belt, because he spit his string out one year at the NFR and misstrung one, and I think it was in 05 when he beat Trevor Brazil for the all-around title, and he was bulldogging and roping calves, and he started stringing from the belt like Bud Ford after that, and he don't misstring them. That guy he is salty, and just big, tough guy. Like, I mean, he's just a man.
What? And the cool part of it is, like, I don't know if he was in the money that round, but I know he didn't win that round. But
he was out of the money.
But nobody will remember who won that round.
No one remembers who won that round. They just remember him roping that son bitch swinging backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fuck who won that round? They saw that highlight and they're just like, look at that dude.
Yeah. Ropey. Way ropey.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, it's too bad he didn't get paid for that particular moment.
Yeah.
Because that was a priceless, and like, just like a priceless NFR moment. Just, you know, whatever. You just got.
Well, he should have got points for style anyway.
Yeah.
He definitely won style points.
Yeah. And also, it was a really good way to spank the shit out of your horse and nobody notice it.
Yeah.
He spanked him, but as long as you throw a backhand loop, nobody's gonna notice.
Nobody remembers the spanking.
I mean, it was golden. It's too bad, like I said, too bad he didn't get paid for that moment.
Yeah, that was, and then
I think that's what they would call an NFT. Like that would be something you'd sell as an NFT. I think. I'm not. I don't know exactly how that works, but
yeah, that's those guys that make it there, like they are such on another level. Like, we all rope good, because we do it for a living, out in the pasture or in the feedlot or whatever. You've always got to rope something, and and you may not miss and stuff, but then you go like get around those guys that are NFR caliber guys, and they start roping the dummy, and you're like, holy shit, that guy just ocean waved that so much slick horns, like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, not only do they not miss, but they do it faster than you can even imagine.
Yeah, everything's so smooth and snappy. Like it's so cool to sit there and watch them do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it is just, you get them in their element and they're just on a whole different level.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, that's a good bronc right here. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like I said, it's hard not to be a fan just that, this time of year.
Oh man, it is.
I may not pay attention to the rest of it, but it's when you see, and then like you watch the eliminator pin on the Bronx and you see these guys just getting dumped on their head, just one after another, and you're just like, fuck. And then like if you've ever rode anything that bucked at all, you're just like, man, how did they make it that long?
Yeah. Yeah, there was one in that eliminator pin last night in the saddle bronc ride, and I was just like, I was sitting there watching it. Me and my little boy, my little boy's 7. He's like, dang, that horse bucked, Dad. And I'm like, that horse didn't look like he was any fun at all. Like that was all work until that guy hit the ground. It was just like every jump was just like fighting for your life.
Yeah, and then they just had one here as a red paint that just looked funner than shit. Just big old hop, big extension. Just like sitting in a rocking chair. Like as long as you can find that rhythm, like you can make that look pretty.
Yeah. And those broncs are like that. Like, I mean, I've got to ride a few of them that had a lot of timing and really jumped and kicked like that big long jumps. Like the first ranch bronc I ever got on, Mitch Carroll at TNT Rodeo had the broncs, and I got on at Post, Texas at the Post Stampede, and first ranch bronc I ever got on. And the year before, somebody had fanned one of the ranch broncs, and so Mitch just ran all his good broncs in the ranch bronc pen and had a full bill in the saddle bronc riding. But he ran like his best ones in there, and I drew the best one he had. He was X80 big bay horse, and this some bitch took a run out there that felt like it was 100 yards long. I know it wasn't, but it felt like it. And then he bogged his head, and I mean, did kiss his ass and kick over his head. And I was like, holy shit, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Like, holy shit, like this is the real deal. Like I'd been riding a bunch of broncs, and like they blow up and stuff, and I get them covered like no big deal. And I was thinking I was top peeler, and I rode that son bitch, but it was like when he took the first couple of jumps, like I could have swore that the arena lights were disappearing under my feet. We were jumping so high. I was like, holy shit. Like I've never jumped anything this high. Like I've never been this high in my life unless I was in a plane, like, God damn, this some bitch is chin in the moon. And
oh man,
when I finally calmed myself down, I thought, man, I want to fan this son of a bitch. And I turned loose of him. I grabbed my hat, and then I reached back and grabbed my saddle horn. And I was like, nope. There's way too much horse for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you like when I was riding some kind of some bigger colts that or not colts, but older horses, but like just kind of some broncs, but like had sure enough had a good neck on them, and you'd slide some rein, and then you get those ones that were real serious, and you'd slide rein, and then all of a sudden like I got no more rein to slide, and they're still pulling on me hard, and you're like, ooh, get sticky, get sticky, find a fence.
Shit, slide rein. What about the ones that just jerk it plumb out of your freaking hand?
Those. Then you just grab the horn and find a fence. Yeah.
I seen. We were roping some steers one day, me and my brother, and the guy we were working for, taking care of his cattle. He'd bought a couple of supposedly high powered rope horses, and give a pile of money for both of them. He had a big yellow horse that he headed on, and it was supposed to be a head horse, and then a bay horse that was a heel horse. And we were like, shit, let's go rope some, So we went to the house and shit. Nobody was around but me and my brother. We pull up there to my dad's house and load the steers. And first steer, and that yellow horse, my brother runs out there to spin me one, and he gets right about the time he throws that son, it just bogs his head and just jerks the reins plumb out of his hand and out over that horse's head. And I was like, oh shit,
So Wade. Wade just about got pitched and somehow saved it. Like, he slid some rain and caught back up. Covered him somehow. That was a nasty prick.
That Wade Sundell's fun to watch.
Fuck, man. That was like, he just about lost it, and he somehow covered it. I mean, like, whew, he was reaching way out in front, but what'd they give him? 89.5. Son of a bitch. Good work, Wade. God damn, he earned that. like I said, he was just about to get yard darted, and somehow he saved it.
That somebody's so athletic.
Oh, man. Son of a bitch. I got to take a leak. I'll be right back.
All right.
The bad habit.
Where about you from?
I'm from West Texas. I live southwest of Lubbock, about 100 miles.
Oh, all right.
Right on the New Mexico state line.
Okay.
If I was anywhere further west, I'd be a New Mexican instead of a Texican.
Yeah, I'm an Okie. I'm an Oklahoma boy.
Where at in Oklahoma?
Well, I'd say Bushy Head, but you probably wouldn't know where that's at.
I know exactly where Bushy Head is at. We used to go to calf ropings there when I was a kid. They used to have a big invitational calf roping at Bushy Head. It was like the one everybody wanted to go to.
Yeah, well, Clem used to have those pasture opens every year. Clem McSpadden? Well, I live right across the road from where he used to have those pasture opens at.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were cool. Those were cool pasture opens. I always wanted to go to that deal, and I never did. We were supposed to one year, and it just I think it was a 3-man team or something like that.
Yeah.
And me and one of my buddies, we were down to go, and we had 3 different third members of our team, and they all 3 crawfished on us.
No shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It was heartbreaking. We wanted to go so bad. That was a fun deal.
I was in that one year. Clem McSpadden used to put on a big pasture open every year right across from where I live at.
Oh,
it was
okay.
a big deal.
Now, how do those pasture opens work down in that part of the world?
Well, he gave them like a 101 foot score. So they got to get their freaking momentum going before you could ever head out.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a freaking foot race. And then you just head and heel them out in the pasture. And then he had I don't know what you'd call it. There at the end, he had a freaking big longhorn steer. And he was kind of like your bonus round steer at the very end.
Bounty steer,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I was in that one year, and, it got to where, like he was talking about, bloomer trailers and these guys pulling out these $100,000 horses and stuff like that. And then there was these fellas that pulled up, and they had Arkansas plates on. And this freaking trailer, I don't know how it made it from Arkansas to there, but it did. These yahoos get out, and they got on pearl snap shirts with their sleeves cut off.
Larry
like
the Cable Guy, huh?
Jed Clampett hats. And these ropey son of a bitches won everything. I don't know. They must have roped shit down in them hollers and in the trees and shit. They were good.
Well,
the horses were dinks.
They they got to rope their sisters so they can marry them,
Where was the one? The one I was thinking of, because the one I was thinking of, it was up there in Oklahoma, and I can't remember. And it was a 3-man team, and it was like you had to head and heel them and then tie them down and get your ropes off and ride back across or ride back up to the box before you got your time or something like that. And your entry fee was you had to bring 10 head of yearlings, and they had to be beef cattle. They couldn't be like Corrientes or shit like that. Like they had to be like beef cattle. And everybody
I remember something like that.
Brought 10 head, and then whoever won, you got the cattle.
Yeah. Where was that at? I remember that. It only went on for a couple of years.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
God dang, I wanted to go to that thing so bad.
I'd say that'd be a hell of a good time.
Oh yeah.
Hell of a payout.
I'd say what you would find some of the sneakiest roping motherfuckers alive.
Yes.
Well, man, you know, like my granddad has told me this forever, and my dad's told me it forever too. Is there's a lot of guys that can beat those guys that are at the NFR, but they don't have the money to go. And you go to Oklahoma and go to like a jackpot calf roping and somewhere in BFE, Oklahoma, and there are some freaking wolves that show up at those things. Like they are rank ass calf ropers and team ropers and stuff. And the same thing, like you go to over here, Texas, New Mexico, like there's a bunch of wolves that just don't have the money to go. You know, they've got a family to feed and they've got a job on ranch or, you know, or in the oil field somewhere. But when them some bitches back in the box, like they're damn sure somebody to crawl up on the fence and watch because they're freaking good.
Yeah.
Well, like you go to like any of these little like saddle club or bit and spur club practice pins and watch some of the Mexican guys that, you know, they're throwing over the chute and going 90-degree left, and you're like at the same time you're like, yeah. I mean, the little fucker can rope, but like, who are you roping for? Like, there ain't anybody here that's gonna catch. It's gonna pick up two behind you there, but.
I've worked with a lot of those Mexicans, and they are ropey bastards.
Oh,
but
man.
One thing about them, either they're really freaking good cowboys or they're really shitty cowboys. There's no in between.
No, it's one or the other. I used to go to a bunch down here when I lived in Midland, and my buddy Baldo Villa, he was like, man, you need to come over to the horse center in Odessa and rope with me. And I was like, all right. So I load up one day and go over there. And I get there, and man, there's gosh damn.
Stetson got spilled, huh?
Jacked up Dodges and bumper pull trailers as far as I can see. And I ride in the arena there, and I'm the only other white guy there is the guy flagging the rope. And I was like, man, I might be in the wrong spot. I thought I was back in high school. But
yeah, no shit, huh?
And like, man, it was like the funniest thing like I'd seen in a long time, because like those guys, they didn't give a shit. Like there was one guy, I bet he was entered 150 times in one roping on the same horse, and like halfway through the roping, this some bitch is like not having it anymore.
Yeah,
like, he's trying to heel on him, and he can't get him in the heel box, and then he gets him in there, and he rears up and walks out of the box on his hind feet. And then the fight is on. Like he just beats piss from this son bitch right in front of God and everybody. Like doesn't give a shit. Just like doubles rope up, whooping him over the head. And I was like, God damn! Like you can't do that in public, dude. And he just didn't give a shit. And I looked at Flagman. I was like, really? And he's like, happens all the time, dude.
You'll have a bunch.
All right,
dudes.
There in a minute, that sausage just crawled back in the box, and then he went for another 100 years.
And you'll if that was at a white rodeo, you'd have a bunch of people bitching about how it was animal cruelty.
Oh yeah, they would have hung him right there in the middle of the arena.
I know, and then you got a bunch of white guys on the side who's like, shit, I wish I could do that to my horse.
My horse kind of needs to do that too. You want to ride mine?
Can I change my name to Jimenez? Oh, Wade won at 89.5. That was a hell of a ride by by him. They had a couple.
Heck
Well, they have
yeah.
an 88.5
He won.
point ride and I think an 87. It was a good.
ride.
Yeah, it was a good bronc riding. Yeah, good for Wade though. He got bucked off the first 2 rounds. I don't know what he did last night, but
He missed him out. Rode the shit out of that sumbitch and missed him out just by.
Oh shit! So this is the first time he's actually covered this. Good.
Well, he
good
covered
for
that
Wade.
one last night, but he just. I mean, he missed him out. His foot fell just. I mean, an inch past off the point of his shoulder. And
yeah.
So
it was the first official cover, anyways. I guess.
Right.
But,
yeah.
It was a hell of a ride.
Money one.
Yeah. Good for him. How old is Wade? He's got to be what, 30, like 32?
I bet he's 35 or 6.
Is he? Is he that old?
Maybe. He may. I don't know. He may. He's got to be at least 32 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and you think guys like that don't have much time left, but then you look at Billy Etbauer did it well into his 40s. So.
Well, and Cody DeMoss is 40.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess if they're still trucking, might as well.
And what is that rider and them? The Wright guy was Cody Wright.
Yeah.
Their dad. He rode till he was like 46 or something like that.
I guess if you can win the money, fucking get after it, huh?
I guess. I mean, as long as you can stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean,
but I guess when you ride good as those guys, you don't hit the ground very much, so you can kind of stay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I wouldn't have lasted near that long. I've been like 25. I'd have been done.
No shit. No shit. I mean, I'm 36 right now, and I've never rodeoed a bit, and I try to stay away from anything that bucks if I can. Absolutely, unless I just can't avoid it.
Yeah. I've gotten real good at talking them out of it.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is I'm sticky enough to pull their head around.
Let's just walk in some circles here for a minute.
Yep.
What do you mean I can't hold on with both hands? This is bullshit.
my bingo horse the other morning was like as soon as I stepped on, he went to go fire, and I said, nope. Let's spin a couple circles here for a minute because I don't want to. He's not going to buck me off, but it's going to beat the shit out of my thighs for about 4 or 5 seconds, and I just don't want to deal with that. Well, let's spin some circles. Let's do that instead.
I went to gather my bulls the other day so we could put them out on our West Ranch over here for our fall herd, and I was riding my little WR. This cat's smart mare, and we trotted out, and I could feel she was a little bit tight, and I was like, she'll be all right, and we trotted around there a little bit, and then she broke over into a lope, and I was like, hell, we're good. And then she jumped to Yucca, and her hide couldn't hold her anymore. After she jumped at Yucca, she kissed her ass, and I was like, hey, whoa. Come here. Don't be doing that shit. We got work to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Fine after that, but she felt so good, her hide couldn't hold her. I was like, oh damn, here we go.
Yeah,
she's pretty fun.
I don't mind a good bronc ride here and there, but I like it to be one that I know I'm gonna cover. I just really, it hurts a lot more to hit the ground anymore.
Boy, it sure does.
Yeah,
I like a bronc ride when it's somebody else doing
it. Those are my favorite. Those are
the best.
Yeah. Especially like if you kind of caused it, but you have some plausible deniability.
I got a buddy that's got a bay horse that he'll try it every morning, and he can't buck the hat off your head. I mean, he just crow hops, and he was on that morning, and he works he's a lineman, and so he doesn't get to work cattle very much, and he's not the greatest hand in the world, but he's a great guy, and he's learning, and that's things like he wants to learn. Like he knows he doesn't know a whole lot, so he's like he asks questions and make sure he's in the right spot. And like he does all the things to be a good cowboy. He just needs to do it more.
Yeah.
And I love him to death. I mean, he's a really, really good friend of mine. But he has this bay horse, and so last year we were going to wean some calves for this guy, and he was there. He was so tickled that he finally got away from being a lineman to go cowboy a little bit. And that horse wouldn't want to take off. And he had you could have put a watermelon underneath his saddle, and he was humped up and trying to buck a little bit. And my buddy Miles, he just takes his rope down and throws it over to me, and we ride behind that son bitch with that rope and hang it under his tail. And gosh damn, he does get it on. And he got him covered, but it was just super funny that we made that horse actually get it on, And God damn, he was like, God damn it, you son of a bitches. And we were like, well, God damn, if somebody wanted to pitch, we're just gonna let him do it. He was trying, he just need a little help.
I always like especially if I get some real like fresh meat type new people that and they're on, and it might be a broke horse, but just a horse that hadn't ever opened gates, and you know how they get to swiveling that ass end away from it, and I like just let them mess with it for a few minutes and be like, you need some help, and they're like, yeah, I could use a little bit of help. And then you just, I especially like my good mare. She's not real big. She's like 15-1, but I can do whatever and just crunch them right up against that gate. Like, all right, sidestep now, you motherfucker. Like, you're gonna move. Try it now. Sorry about your knee, old fella.
my buddy Cody, he does that to me all the time because like he never rides young horses, and that's pretty much all I ride. And I'll have one like it's like the third ride outside, and I'm trying to get over there and get the gate. And usually by the time I get them out of the round pen, like I can pretty much open a gate on them. Like I try to get them where they're moving off my leg enough and like have enough sense to get off pressure that I can. May take me a second, but I can get it, And he's got a big dun horse. It's probably 15, 2 or 3, and weigh 1,200. Like he'll just go over there and just like put his spur in him, he'll just side pass over and just mash the shit out of them colts up into the gate. And I'm like, God dang, that's my knee. And he's like, yeah, I thought you need a little help. I'm like, no, just get back. My knees are bad enough as it is.
That is a cool feeling though. Like when you're on some kind of ranked younger horses and you get somebody who's on just a big stout horse and just shut them off in the round pen. They go to bucking and you just plant that horse in front of them and they just stop. It's pretty cool especially if you're on the one pitching it. Like you get real appreciative of a big stout older horse.
Yeah. Jeff Williams over here at Post had a big when I worked for him, he had a big high to flow horse that come from George Beggs, and he called him Pretty Boy. And I was riding a Bill Smith colt, and this summit was pretty ranked, big black colt, and he blew up with me in that round pen that first date. We was going around there. We got about halfway around there, and Jeff said, "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but gosh damn, I'm kind of tired of riding this bitch already, And that pen wasn't very big, and he just did this, just run over there, got right in that colt's shoulder, just mashed him up against the heel. Wham! Just whammed his old shoulder into that round pen, and he was like, "Whoa, hey!" I was like, "Thanks, man." I was getting tired of holding on.
Yeah.
I don't know how much riding I was doing, but I was damn sure holding on.
Yeah, it's amazing how like you just plant that'll, especially if like they back into them, like they just plant that ass right in front of them, and those little colts are just like, oh fuck, I'm done. They're just like, whoa, where did that come from?
Didn't see you there.
Yeah, it's you get it. I was always very appreciative of especially if a guy that that was on the big horse knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that colt tried me a bunch. And there was another guy that he passed away, but his name was Jimmy Redmond. He was, the best guy I think I've ever met. He's a super nice guy, and he's an older man, and he loved watching me ride a pitching horse. He always called me Big Boy and say, they don't make one old big boy that can buck old big boy off. And like if one ever blew up with me, it like made his day. Like it was weak even. Like he was just like so excited to watch me ride a pitching horse. But he ponied me on them broncs so much that they all like knew his black mare. And like if they blew up, they would go to looking for that black mare, and then they would run into her ass, like plant their head right in her tail head, and then they'd quit bucking and just follow her. And so like Jimmy, like if one ever blew up, he'd just go to trotting off, and like they would go looking for him, and they'd buck right to her, and wham, they'd buck right into her. And then even if we were outside, not even in the round pen, like they would look for that black mare because that was like their safe space, and like wham, they'd hit her, and then but they were good to go. We'd just follow Jimmy, and we'd go 5 or 6 miles through the sand, and by the time we got back to the trailer, they were wanting to be good ones. But it was like, man, like Jimmy saved my bacon so many times and didn't even realize it.
Your boy Shad's leading the round at 7.6.
I bet that doesn't hold. I don't know. This is big kids.
I don't know. Hey, whatever happened?
They're not too big.
Whatever happened to Matt Shizawa?
I think he's just kind of retired.
Did he ever win a title? I know he was always close, but I don't.
No, I always liked Matt just because he was a littler guy and just had the grit to do it. You know, he's kind of like Brent Lewis. He just gritty, tough, and quick hands and roped real sharp. Got away from his horse sharp. He did everything right.
And he was there for a long time. Like he was in the NFR, 15 years in a row, probably.
Yeah, probably. Long time.
Yeah. But I was gonna say he was kind of like a Cody DeMoss or either of the DeMosses, like there forever but never won it.
Yeah. Well, it was like Corey Kuntz in the team rope and healing. Like he's probably the best healer that ever won a gold belt buckle. And that's what I've always said about Brent Lewis. He's the best calf roper that never won a gold belt buckle. Like he is. Those guys, like, you know, and it sucks because they deserve it so much, you know. But
they
just never could get it done. You know, got real close, but just never did get it accomplished.
Yeah, the Dan Marinos of the NFR.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when like when the Avalanche traded for Ray Bork, and like most hockey people never, or anybody that didn't follow hockey never knew who Ray Bork was, but like the Avalanche got him, and so all the Colorado people are like, oh, this guy's been around for like 30 years and never won a Stanley Cup, and he won a Stanley Cup with the Avalanche. And
with the Avalanche?
Like, yeah. And so, but it was just like same type of story. It's like somebody had been around forever and just like should have won it. Everybody liked too. That was another thing about like those guys like Shizawa, DeMoss. You know, like everybody loved him. Everybody was rooting for him, but they just never quite got it done.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. That's like, you know, and I don't know how heartbreaking it was for them, but like my heart broke for them. You know, like they deserved it. You know, and they'd earned it.
And they're more of like the everyman type guy too, like where you know you got like Cody Ole, who's just freakishly good at calf roping, where you got a guy like Shizawa who just worked harder than anybody else. Like he didn't have like that quite the talent or the physical build. He had the want to.
Yeah, he had the drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just your classic underdog. Everybody likes an underdog. And
everybody loves an underdog.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's why that stupid Rudy movie is a favorite. I mean, even though
Rudy,
it's the worst underdog story of all time. Like he didn't actually accomplish anything, and then he ends up being just like a drunk, living off his former glory. Where he played one snap of college football.
Got to play one down.
One down, yeah, and he was offsides. I'm gonna piss off a whole bunch of Rudy fans.
Rudy.
Shit.
Oh man. Yeah, that's there's lots of guys like that. There's just
he's still leading 7-6. 7-6. Taylor Santos is up now.
I'm ready for Hunter Herring to break out and do something, man. I like that guy too. I've always liked watching him rope.
Yeah. Yeah, I like watch or listening to your analysis because I never got very into rodeo like you did. So like I like listening to the technical analysis of somebody who's been there a time or two. That
well, that's by default.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why like everybody gives Joe Beeve a hard time for doing that, but like you were saying, like it's just ingrained in your head once
You
you
bet.
once you've done it.
Yeah.
But that's also
Those
that's
guys,
what's made everybody loves Joe Beaver. Everybody likes to give him a hard time. But like it wouldn't be the NFR without Joe Beaver, one way or the other. What either competing or talking about it, you know?
yeah, and I'd say when I was riding cutting horses, his son that killed himself, Brody, he
Mm,
was riding cutting horses too, and I was loping horses. We were at Graham, Texas, at a cutting, and I loping a dual ray mare for the guy I was working for, and he got ready to show her, so I got off of her, and I finally had a chance to go get something to eat because when you're loping horses for a cutter, you may not get to eat for 15 hours, and
yeah.
so I was like craving something to eat because I've been loping horses since about 4 a.m. and I was really, really hungry. And I crawl up the steps and walk through the stands, going to the concession stand, and I hear Tanner Miller, and I look up and it's Joe Beaver, and I was like, "What are you doing, Joe?" And he's like, "Brody's cutting." And I come to watch him, and I was like, "Oh, cool, you know." So let me go get something to eat. I'll come back, and sit down, and eat with you. So I went, got me a cheeseburger, and come back up there, and I sat down. We were shooting the shit, and he was just like, you know, into the cutting deal because that's what Brody was doing. And I was like, man, that's cool. And he just had one of his knee surgeries, and he had kind of retired. And he's like, I think I want to make one more comeback. And I was like, you need to, man. Like, missing
Yeah.
at the NFR, like you need to make one. He's like, I can't rope calves anymore, but I'm going to try to, I've got a good head horse. I'm gonna go see if I can't make it one more time heading. And I was like, hell yeah, man, that'd be badass. And then
Hell
he
yeah.
never did, but. And then he started commentating, and I was like, man, that's exactly what he needed to do. Like, because he can talk to anybody. I mean,
well,
he's
like,
the good.
Joe Beaver was another one of those just try hard guys that everybody loved. Like,
Yeah.
He was a short, fat, round guy that somehow could scream down the line and tie a calf. I don't know what.
That boy could move.
Right,
Like,
it just like, and he doesn't look like he should be able to. That was, and he was always like that, you know.
no, he's built like a lineman.
Yeah, but he was, yeah, it was just like, he wasn't supposed to be able to do that, but he was able to do it and do it a lot better than most people, and some years better than anybody else.
Yeah. Well, his rookie, I think he won the world his rookie year, was it? Or maybe, yeah, I think it was his rookie year. And he beat Roy Cooper, and that was like a big deal. And in the 10th round, he didn't daylight his calf, and they did flag him out for it, which they should have, but he didn't pick that calf up. He just kind of halfway picked him up and didn't, his legs didn't hang, and they didn't flag him out. And that was kind of a big controversy back there in the 80s, he didn't daylight his calf and beat Roy for the world. And I was just tickled they beat Roy.
Yeah. Right. I think there was a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just I like to give him a hard time commentating just because he's the same every year. But like it wouldn't be the NFR without him.
No, and but if you talk to Joe, like that's the way he'll talk to you about it. Like if we were to walk up to him and see him and ask him what he thought about it, like he would. It's just like he was commentating. Like that's just how he talks.
Yeah, I like I said, it's just it's the NFR. You're gonna listen to Joe Beaver, and I wouldn't expect anything. I've always given Joe a hard time, but I've never asked for anybody else.
No,
I've never thought anybody else should be there. I just always given Joe Beaver a hard time,
And he needs it. Like, I mean, because he's just like the rest of us. Like he can take the shit just as well as he can give it.
Yeah. Well, and just like I said, if he was terrible, I would say he's terrible, but he's not. You know what you're getting out of him.
Yeah.
and he's just become like you expect it, and it'll be a sad day when he's not doing it anymore,
Yeah. It's just like Donnie Gay in the bull riding.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, it's the same exact thing. It's like I don't know. I always, as much as it'll change to the next one of these days, and it'll just that's how it is. But I don't know. It'll be a sad day when there's no longer Joe Beaver,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, it
Donnie
will.
Gay commentating. This Corey Solomon, God, that guy is fast.
He is.
That dude, it's like 2 strides down the rope.
Yeah, that kid's lightning quick.
Yeah,
He's a calf roper for sure.
he can move. He bobbled his string there, but still, he just covers so much ground.
There's a lot of guys that I've talked to that say this is probably like all in all one of the weakest fields of calf ropers that we've had in a long time, like these last few years. And I think the main reason for that is like they don't rope big calves anywhere anymore. Like you don't have to be like super technical or really big and stout, because like Matt Shizawa and Brent Lewis, those guys, they weren't big enough to like manhandle a 300-pound calf and get them on the ground. Like they had to block them off and flank right, and everything had to be perfect. Where if you were like Joe Beaver, Joe just run in there and grab a hold of some bitch and mat him. He didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But like you'll see, like those calves try to jump by those guys, and where guys like Cody Ohl or Fred Whitfield or some of those guys would, or Joe Beaver even, would catch those cattle and flank them right there. They had to bounce them 2 times and then get a hold of them and flank them. And it's just a different setup than those other guys had. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily a weaker field of calf ropes because they all rope and tie really, really good. It's just when they get on really big cattle, it's hard for them to, like, they're just not used to it, I guess, and they don't flank cattle like they should. But like Shad does it, and of course Ryan Jarrett does it. What is it? Caleb Schmidt, he can do it. Which Caleb's probably riding one of the best horses out there right now. I think Up Pocket's horse is a jam up calf horse.
Yeah.
But it's one of those deals. It's like it's kind of hard. It's kind of like everybody comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron James. It's not the same.
That's exactly
NBA.
what I was gonna say. Yeah.
It's like LeBron would have never made it in MJ's era. Like he just wouldn't have. He's too big of a crybaby. Like they would have wore his ass out. They would have shut him down. Like he wouldn't have been the starter he is today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, and also like you got to think somebody like Corey Solomon is coming from the starting point of already like he's seeing Cody Ohl, Joe Beaver, all the greats that we know, and that's his starting point. So he's already got like all the tools of the trade right there.
Yeah,
he's just got to learn them,
Yeah,
and we're like those guys had to learn a few things. Like they had like Joe had his own style, Cody, like they all had they developed things over time where you got guys like Tuff Cooper or Corey Solomon, they already know those things.
Yeah, they kind of got to do the shortcut deal because they had the opportunity to learn from those guys that changed the game, I don't know. But I mean, you talk to those older calf ropers like my dad, Joe Beaver, and those guys, and then they'll talk about guys like Phil Line and stuff like that, and like getting off the left and stuff, and like roping calves that weigh 400. It's like a whole different world than it is now.
Oh yeah,
it's like those guys wouldn't even know what to do if they roped one that weighed 200 pounds. They would be like, "What the hell are we roping these babies for?"
I know. It makes you. And that's the whole thing why the PR or the WRCA and like the Western States Ranch Rodeo deal started, because they're like, those guys, that's rodeo. This is not like what us cowboys do, like they're So like there's like, well, let's get back to something we do on a regular basis, and I don't know, there's just I don't know, there's a lot of cool.
Well, and I wish that they would televise the damn steer open finals, because I do love watching the steer open. Like that is.
Oh yeah.
that's still, those guys are still old school cool, man. They just, those guys are just, even that deal's changed too, because they rope a lot smaller steers than they used to. I mean, there's a guy over here that in New Mexico that he always posts on Facebook old pictures of like the San Angelo roping fiesta and stuff of them tripping steers.
Yeah.
And those steers, gosh damn, some of them look like they could be like a straight up mama cow, like with horns, like they weigh 1,000 pounds and they're tripping.
Oh yeah. And what are they doing? They're pitching slack and hard left.
Yeah, and it's like, gosh damn, how did those saddles even hold up to that shit?
Yeah, man, you gotta have a hellacious horse. God damn. Yeah.
There's so much wear a size 3.
Oh man, and then they have ring bone by the time they're 5.
Yeah, and, like there was one picture, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Bob Crosby was tripping that steer, and that picture, the only thing touching the ground is the horse's left front foot. Like the horse has 3 feet in the air, and he's like getting jerked over to his right side, and that steer is like, 6 foot in the air upside down. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It looks like it's fixing to be a wreck,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God dang.
There's several of those old Charlie Russell paintings that are kind of like that too, and you're just like, God damn, man.
Yeah, and, he witnessed that shit to be able to draw it.
Oh man, and then he just like, that's what I love, like talking to Boots about some of that shit. Like that's shit that me and you won't ever see again.
Mm-mm.
And
no,
and just to hear him talk about like shit that they actually did, I like that. That's so cool. Man, what a piece of history. Like, and it's, like we do things a lot better than they did, but there's some of those things that they, like, what, for better or for worse, that they did it, and they're more men for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those guys. They were definitely a different breed. They're just. Like, people nowadays think they're tough. Like, they ain't got shit on those guys like that. Like,
well, and like the stuff that Boots was talking about on, you go and your bronc pen for the winter is a bunch of untouched 4 or 5 year olds. Like, were they better cowboys? I don't know if they were, but they were more men for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, did they do it better? Probably not. But they still did it. They did it when we wouldn't.
To carry their nuts out to the fucking bronc pen to get on them things.
That's what I'm saying. Is like they may not have been better cowboys for it, but they were more cowboy because they did it.
Yeah. And that's what, you get to talking to the little guys, and that's what I miss about getting to talk to my great uncle, the one I was telling you about when we did our podcast. Like, the things that they did was like, God dang, like, there's so much easier way to do it that we figured out now, like to get stuff done. But that's just what they did, they didn't gripe about it. It's just that's just the way it is. Let's just go do it,
Yeah.
Like, we've got to trot to this camp over here to work, and we've got to be there by daylight, so we're going to leave at midnight, and we're going to trot till the sun comes up and get there, like.
Yeah, and you'll catch a couple hours of sleep on your way there. Like, you basically just that's what the night latch was for. It wasn't for a bucking horse. It was to hold you on.
Yeah, when you fell asleep.
That was why they called it a night latch.
Yeah. They said one night they got him and a couple other guys left the wagon, and they trotted into post to get I don't know if I told you the story or not, but they trotted into post to get a haircut and get a bath, and because they got paid, and so they were going to go to town. Well, then they wound up going to the bar and getting on the whiskey, and then they were like, shit, we got to get back to the wagon. And so they were going back, and so they come to a gate. Shit, I don't remember this gate. I will go through it. So he said he just went through it, and then he said he just threw his horse to reins. He's like, hell, maybe he knows the way back to the wagon. He said about daylight we showed up in the wagon. Cook had breakfast. He said we didn't get no sleep, but we got us some breakfast and went back to work.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, there's man.
Guys,
Yeah,
they were
like
so
I
funny.
said, there's a lot of that shit. We're like, were they better cowboys? I don't know, but I'd say they were more cowboy.
Yeah, yeah. There was no that quit was not in their vocabulary, and
No, you didn't have the option of it.
that was like their life motto.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, we it's amazing how much better we have it than they used to.
Yeah,
And well, and how much or how how afraid of risk people are nowadays. I was talking uh, with Mackenzie earlier today, and we were talking. She's from Nebraska, there in the Sandhills. I was like, think of like somebody in Omaha or Ogallala, that area in Nebraska in 1855, 1865. You you got your cattle and you got your horses out there, and you might make a big profit that year, or you might have a bunch of Sioux come in and stampede your stock and burn your entire house to the ground. And guess what? They still took that risk.
yeah. It was just like shit happens, so let's rebuild it and go on.
Yeah, right. Like, well, shit. I guess I'll have to go steal my cattle back. It's wild how that used to work, you know?
Yeah, it was just like, gosh damn it, again?
Yeah, like somebody would steal your cattle, and it was just like, fuck you, I'm taking them back. And then you go take them back, and they're like, fuck you, I stole them fair and square.
What the hell? We put all that effort into punching all night long, and then y'all come get them back?
Yeah. They're like, you're like, wait. We branded cattle all day. Now you want me to carry a fucking rifle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different, man, just what a different way of thinking.
Yeah, I
about
mean, it
life.
just, you wanted to be an outlaw, you just see some cattle out there, just go ahead and just have you a brand and stick your brand on some calves and drive them to town. Like, like no fences, no nothing. Like, it's just like, oh hell, just having fun a herd of cows. I think I'll just take some of them to town and have me some extra money.
Yeah, well, and then sometimes that wasn't even illegal. It's like as long as there wasn't a brand on the calf or anywhere close by, you just roped him and stuck your brand on him. and you're just like, well, it wasn't mine, but he is now.
Yeah. Nobody claimed him, so.
Yeah. Oh, it was a wild time. And there's no wonder a lot of people got shot over stupid shit too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just like how it was. I mean, and what's funny is like there's some places that like over in New Mexico still like that those ranches have changed hands and they're owners that just have lots of money and live somewhere way off, and they buy these big ranches, and the guy that was there that owned it before had cows, and they got over on the neighbors or something, and like I had a buddy that worked on a ranch over there and in New Mexico, and he's like, dude, we would run across remnants all the time, and he said they may be 5 or 6 year old cows that didn't have a brand on them, didn't have an earmark, nothing. And he's like, hell, like when we got caught up, we would just go gather a bunch of them, take them to town and sell them. You know, we'd stick our brand on them, take them to town and sell them. He's like, they weren't the neighbors. We call the neighbors, like, are these your cows? No, my cows are all in. Call the other neighbors. No, they're not my cows. And well, they're long ears. And I mean, shit, there's 50 head of them over here in this canyon. Well, they're mine now.
Yeah. Which is a pretty good payday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Yeah, especially if everybody else agrees to it. You're just like, shit, all right.
Like, that's fine with me. Like, if they're not yours, they're not mine, they're not anybody's. I'm gonna stick my brand on them and call them mine and have a little Christmas money.
Yep, which I think was initially what like the Maverick law was supposed to be. Was like if you find shit like that.
Yeah.
But then it turned into where you had you had cowhands holding pairs back, and then eventually pushing the cow up ahead and and sticking their own brand on the calf.
Yeah.
And but then you
you're
also
not a doggy, but you are now.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was it's funny. It's one of those things where like were wrong, but they both knew they were wrong the whole time. Like
Oh yeah.
When it came to those range wars, like there was a lot of wrongdoing on both sides, and they both knew it at the same time.
Yeah. That's what I like about the podcast the other day about the vigilantes. That
Yeah.
was a good one. I really enjoyed that because I mean those guys like they just kind of made their own laws. Like we're gonna be law enforcement.
Yeah,
we said so.
And sometimes it turned out okay, like that anti-horse theft deal.
Yeah.
Or it turned into like the Ku Klux Klan or deals like that, and those type of deals just ain't good for anybody.
No.
Yeah.
They're not good for nothing. But I mean, when you don't have any law anywhere close about, so it's kind of you kind of got to take the law in your own hands sometimes, I guess. But it can get out of hand real quick because when you are the law, then you get to make the law. So
yeah. Yeah, it's also like there was a couple, well, more than a couple instances in the state of Utah, or as they called it at the time, Deseret, where they castrated fellers for either not taking care of their wives or for trying to marry somebody that was that the elder members of the church wanted for themselves. But anyway, castration was a very common punishment. So like,
wow.
Apparently, you minded your P's and Q's back in old Deseret.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep that lariat locked up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You just do go ahead and do as you're told and keep your cojones.
Very stiff punishment.
Yeah. Yeah. Used to be stiff. Not so much anymore. The stiff is what caused the punishment.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
What do you think JB's going to do tonight?
Well, my wife texted me and said he got launched, but I didn't ask any follow ups. So,
well, dang.
Yeah. So I don't know if
that old horn to the head kind of rung his bell.
Yeah,
that there to get right.
Yeah, probably so. That was, god dang, that's another one. He's just like he's a cowboy. Like even though he's a bull rider, that dude's a fucking cowboy.
Yeah, he's tough.
Another one, you can't not like the guy.
That's what I don't know if you watched it was last night. The deal that the Cowboy Channel does on like the recap of what happened and everything, and Justin McKee and Ty O'Neill are doing it, and I've known Ty literally my whole life. Me and him used to run around together when we were little bitty kids, and like I haven't seen him in years and years and years, but he grew up there in Abilene, and like when we go to the TCRA finals every year, I would stay with him for a week during the TCRA finals, and
yeah,
like we just had a ball. And But he was like, the only thing that would have been better is if JB would have had a cigarette in his mouth when he got bucked off, and after they got him up off the off the ground, he would have walked back over there and got his cigarette, put it back in his mouth.
No shit. He's just a fucking cowboy. Like that's.
Yeah, he's just JB. He doesn't give a shit if you like him or don't like him. He's just JB.
Well, and like, yeah, he just goes out and does what he does. Like, you know, like there's like a video of him talking about how, you know, there's used to be during the rodeo there'd be a 6-pack of beer, and everybody's smoking a cigarette, and now these guys are doing yoga and CrossFit before they get on a bull, and he's like, man, I'm just gonna go spur down a bull. You know, he's just like, they're still like, what do you do? He's like, I don't know, I just get on it and ride, you know. And he's just a cowboy, you know, like
yeah.
he just like, it's just that spirit that we all have, just like that doesn't make any sense why we're doing it. We just do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot easier way to do things, but this is what we do.
This is just what we do.
Yeah, and I don't know, and we're pretty good of it, or pretty good at it, and we're pretty goddamn proud of it. So
yeah, exactly.
That's why we do it. I don't know. It's what it is.
We went and helped a guy today, and last 2 days we went and helped this guy over here. He's a farmer, but he's got some cows, and we go help him. We helped him wean some calves and brand a few. He leaves his bulls on all the time, so you always got a few to brand, a few to wean every time you go there to work. And there's a guy there. I hadn't worked with him in a long time, known him forever, but he had never been around my little boy much. And you know, I was kind of my little boy's 7. He's starting to kind of pick up, you know, like where to be and you know what he needs to do. Like he's starting to get it figured out. But he was being a 7-year-old boy, and like, you know, we're riding along there on the drive, and he kind of gets behind because he's walking along there like playing with his tie string on his saddle. And I said, hey, ride up, get up here where you're supposed to be. And he's like, oh, he kind of crossed up there, and he goes, man, he said, it's so good to see somebody who like takes the initiative to teach their kid. He said, because I work with a lot of kids, and he's like, there's very few guys nowadays that teach their kids anything. And like, one of these days we're all going to be gone, and they're not going to know how to do a damn thing.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this one ain't going to be one of them. I promise you. Like, he knows he's starting to get it together, and like, he's getting big enough now. He can do some stuff, you know, and I still don't let him carry rope and pasture just because he's little. And, you know, like, I don't want him getting in a jam, but he wants to really bad. And I'm like, no, you don't, not just yet. Like, here in a couple of years, I'll let you start carrying rope, but I'm afraid you'll decide to rope the herd bull, and then you'll just be tied to a herd bull. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago I was that age, and I know I would have. So,
yeah, I guarantee you. Now, I tell you, one of the biggest things that gives me hope, that I've seen, you know, at least since I've started doing this podcast, is like far and away my most popular episodes are with Boots.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool that so many people want to hear what an old time cowboy has to say. And that
absolutely.
And you know, like there's been probably close to 50 guys that are, you know, 5-10 years younger than us that message me about that, and that gives me hope.
Absolutely.
Because that younger
right
generation that people are always worried about, they're hearing from some of the best, and they're responding to it, and that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, and you know, and it's and that's what I love about you know, your podcasts and stuff like that. Like, you're actually like getting that where those younger guys can hear some of that stuff that they, you know, they're not going to get they're not going to be around somebody like that. And the only time that they get to hear something about the old way is through Boots getting to tell it, you know, like that's what's the cool part of it, is like there's actually an avenue they can take to learn some of that old stuff.
Yeah. That's like I said, that's probably the most I guess like the most hopeful part of it all, or like the most rewarding, I guess, is it's really cool to see that those kids are responding, and I say kids in a, with respect, like they're just kids
Right.
compared to us, but like they're learning from the best of that we know,
Right.
and and they're actually taken to it, and that's a good thing, and they'll be able to become better cowhands for it.
Yeah, and I mean, and then that legend will live on because they'll tell their kids, and
Mm-hmm.
their kids will tell their kids, and I mean, it'll get passed down, and that's what it's all about. I mean, gosh dang, there's no better way to raise kids than this way. I don't think. I mean, in my humble opinion, I think this is the best way to raise kids out here, where they have to learn how to work and learn
Oh,
how to
I
do things,
agree.
and you know and if we can help them, and just like we were saying, those younger guys that are rodeoing now, they got to take some shortcuts because the guys ahead of them, kind of paved the way and taught them a better way to do it that they learned over the years, and they didn't have to go through all that trial and error to figure it out because it's already been done. And it's the same way with us cowboys. Those old timers, they can teach us a whole lot of ways to do
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and it's a whole lot easier than the way that it used to be done. And I mean, it just, if you don't have that, then it just gets lost and everything goes backwards.
Well, and also on that same note, it's also cool to hear from Boots how technology has helped. Like how he'll talk about the biggest thing that has changed over the years is the cell phone, and he won't talk about how it being terrible. He'll talk about how it's become a problem, but also how much it has helped people throughout the years too. So like
Yeah.
I don't know, he always says he's just a dumb cowboy, but he's not a dumb man,
No.
and it's really interesting to see how that, like, because you would think somebody of his age, he'd just be like, oh, technology is terrible, and he's like, no, it's got its downsides, but man, it sure has made stuff easier. And
Absolutely.
there's a lot of stuff that I've talked to him about, and it's the same way. And I don't know, it's valuable, I think, just to listen. Like whether you think he's right or wrong, it's just being able to hear his perspective. It's, I don't know, it's very valuable.
Yeah. And there's one thing my granddad always taught me is listen to everybody and then make your own decision on it, whether it's useful information or not useful information. Always, God gave you 2 ears and one mouth. Keep your mouth shut and listen, and you'll learn. Even if you think you can't learn something from somebody, you'll pick up one little tidbit of information sometime that's going to help you down the road.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times that I've done that. Somebody that's just like talking out their ass, trying to make themselves look good, or make themselves look handier than they are, and then you pick up one little tidbit that they heard from somebody else, and that they may have heard from somebody else, but it helps you with that horse, or with that set of cows, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just, that one little thing just sticks with you, and you're like, man, that
Yeah.
was helpful. Like, that saved me a bunch of time and effort right there. And that guy doesn't even know that he helped me. He just
Yep.
did.
Study everything and hold fast to that which is true.
Yep.
That's like it's one of the most profound Bible verses, but it should just be a profound statement of like just human interactions.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Like,
yeah, take in, just study everything, and then discard all the bullshit. Hold on to what's good. And yeah, it's I don't know, it's but there's something really valuable about being able to talk to those guys and gals that have experienced shit that we'll never get to experience, but they help kind of give what we got now. They paved the way for good or bad, and to listen to how we got here, and what they were going through at the time, man, it's so valuable.
yeah, and I mean, and it's for, like you say, for young guys to be interacting and asking questions about stuff like that that does give you tons of hope, like that valuable stuff isn't just going to get lost when those old timers are gone. You know, that does give you a lot of hope. And
yeah, well, and you know, I always think that, like, you know, like the millennials and the Gen Z and whatever, they get a real bad rap, and some of it's pretty they deserve it.
yeah,
But also you're like, well, who's teaching those kids though?
yeah,
Like that ultimately, that's kind of where it lies on. And that, so you look into it, and well, you got to go back a couple generations to find the true root of the problem. And it just makes me like, man, I've got 2 kids, and I ain't raising any pussies. Like, I'm not gonna let my kids go down that path. We're not doing that bullshit.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Sayings get tough. You get hurt, and my mom say, "Get up, you're not hurt. Get tough." Okay, better be tough.
Yep. Yeah, I think. Well, fuck. I don't know what my my NFR feed is. I don't know what. I don't know what the hell's going on. We
I've
missed
been
the
trying to
ride.
watch the breakaway, the national finals breakaway, but I couldn't get it to pull up or to.
Well, mine streamed just fine all the way.
Yesterday, I was really wanting to watch some girls rope. So I've been thinking they needed that for a long time. I'll get handy with a Larry rope.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they did that. I think it's a good thing they got it back, or it's part of the NFR. But they should do it every round.
Well,
Just like,
they couldn't do it at the Thomas and Mack because something
I
about the
see.
contract. So they're doing it at a different arena there in Vegas, and it's like it sucks because it's not there like in with the NFR, and those girls were kind of upset about it. But it's all in something with the contract that they've got with Las Vegas that they like their time constraints and all that crap that they couldn't get it at the Thomas and Mack. So it's going to be like a couple more years before it'll actually be. But like last year, it was at Globe Live right with the NFR, except they did it in the morning, like they did it at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know, I was tickled that Jackie won it because I've known Jackie forever, and she's a really good friend of mine. And you know, like she's just so freaking ropey. And you know, and Larry D guy, I've known Larry D my whole life, and her brother Tommy guy, he made the NFR a few times and roping calves, and I don't know. I've always gave Tommy a hard time. Like, man, if you could rope good as your sister, you want to go belt buckle. Because she is just so freaking ropey and always has been. Just I love them to death. They're good people, and you know, Hope Thompson, she roped so good. Like that black mare she rides, like freaking rank, and her people at Horse won some award. And I was tickled to suck her too. But
yeah,
the breakaway horses have made a big deal. Like they're a big deal now because there's so much money in it. You know, it's at the American, and the whole 9 yards. Like I love it that it's getting to be, those girls work really hard to promote it and get it to where it is. And I'm glad that they got to see it all the way through and get to be a part of it,
Well, and it's just another outlet for good horses too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely. I
you
mean,
might you might have a horse that's not ready to be a tie down horse, but they got the stop.
yeah, or they don't work a whole lot of rope, and
Yeah,
like they just don't pull a whole lot, or enough, but you can make them, they don't have to, you don't have to worry about that as a breakaway horse. All they got to do is run out there and drag their ass. Of course they've got to do all the things that a tie down horse has to do except pull.
yeah.
So, if you've got one that just doesn't quite pull enough or something, he's still worth a bunch of money for you because he's a jam up breakaway horse.
Yeah, or you could take one that's maybe not wanting to pull all that much and just run them as a breakaway and get a better foundation on them and be able to take them to make them a good calf horse. There's
Absolutely. And we
it's just
always
another
break away a bunch
outlet.
on our calf horses. Like, it's good for those calf horses to not have to do that. Like, you just run out there and stop and just do your thing, like my dad trained a ton of calf horses and is really, really good at it. And there's a lot of times that, like somebody sent him one to fix and he would break away on them more than he tied anything down on them. Like, he would just kind of get them back in their groove and, where they like their job again. And that breakaway, it's a good thing to do on those horses. And I mean, I like to do it even on my ranch horses, like it's just good for them to be able to run and stop, and they don't have to take a big old jerk, and they don't have to do a whole lot of work, but they kind of oh, this ain't so bad. This is kind of fun,
Yeah, well, and it just gets their, yeah, you help them track a little bit better. Get back to a little bit on the foundation side of things.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of goes back to the slow down and be fast, slow everything down, get back to the basics, and then everything will come together.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know it. And there's a lot of, I don't know, like the whole feminist side of things. Like there's some really really fucking handy ranch women out there. Are they ever gonna be the top dog? Probably not, because they're women, and that is not talking down on them. It just
No.
that's just how it's built. But there are some women that'll outrope me and you every day of the week.
Oh yeah.
I can guarantee you that. And I ain't afraid to say it. But and so it's cool that they get their own event. And there honestly there's there'll probably be at some point there'll be ladies team roping with the men at the NFR. I think at some point we'll have that. There'll be ladies that are good enough to actually do that.
Well, I mean, those guys like Larry D. Guy and Jackie Crawford. Like, Jackie roped at the American 4 or 5 years ago, and she almost made it all the way back to rope at the big deal. Like she was right on the bubble there and got bumped out, and and she ropes so stinking good. And Larry D. Guy, like Larry D, she heads cattle so good. She heels really good too. But I mean, my dad she used to spin steers for my dad at the amateur rodeos. She could get it on just as good as any guy out there. And I was like, gosh dang, she ropes so good. She can drop a pole and I mean, drag a knot right behind their left ear, slick horns, and handles cattle good. There's girls out there that can do it, but the thing about it is, it's not talking down on them. Women just aren't built to do some things, just like men aren't built to do some things. God designed us to do certain things, and women can do everything a man can do, but they can't do everything as good as a man can do. Just the same thing as men can do, just everything women can do. But sometimes there's some things that men can't do as good as women.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right. I think at some point we're gonna see, and it's probably gonna be sooner than we think. But there's gonna be like seriously competitive women in the NFR. Like, and they have to be competitive just to be there. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
that's the thing about the NFR is that if you ain't made the money, you ain't gonna be there. Um, like you can talk about politicking all the way through, but at some point, you've got to make enough money to be there.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you've got to put enough good runs together to win enough money to
yeah,
be at the bright lights.
yeah, like the politics will last for a little bit, or they'll carry you for a little while, but at some point you got to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's the long and short of it right there.
Yeah, and I think at some point there probably will be, like women competitively in whether it be team roping or shit, maybe saddle bronc. I don't know. I get to I see like a lot of gals riding ranch bronc nowadays. Like not a lot, but more than you did 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
And putting on a pretty good show too.
Yeah.
Some of them not so much, obviously, but some of them putting on a pretty good show. And I don't know. I think it'll be a while before they're competitive in the saddle bronc. But
yeah,
it might happen.
hey, it definitely could, because there's some of those girls. I mean, and my wife's one of them. She used to ride ranch broncs, and god dang, she rode some horses that I don't know that I could have rode.
Yeah.
And like they had the first year they had the women's branch bronc riding at Cheyenne, she won second with a broke leg.
Yeah.
You know, like, gosh damn tough. Like those girls are freaking tough. Like I was like, god dang, you know, and like that sucker's snapping her head back, and I mean, like, he's getting it on. I'm like, god dang, I'm so tickled. I mean, it makes me so proud of her that she's that, you know, that. And of course now she's like, I ain't doing that no more. Like, I'm done. Like,
yeah,
that was, I'm not doing it anymore. And I don't blame you. You know, it's cool, but I understand. You know, you don't want to take that risk anymore, and especially now, you know, being a mom and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, and then you have a kid and shit gets rearranged anatomically, and it just don't fit together quite as well as it used to, from what I understand.
Yeah, I definitely don't know from experience, but
yeah, yeah. Like I kind of smile and nod and say, I believe you.
Yes.
I believe you.
And you know, and like it's funny because like even like used to, like, she would just crawl on a 2-year-old in the round pen, and I would come home and she'd be trotting circles in the round pen on a bronc, and I'm like, all right, you know. And now she's like, why don't you top this one off before I ride him? And I'm like, thank you. Like, I've been wanting you to say that for a long time, because it scares me to death when you get all these suckers by yourself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no shit, huh?
I think it's kind of a good thing, because it's a lot less stress on me worrying about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit, huh?
And it's not that she can't do it. It's just you know, she's kind of like, I just don't want to take that risk. And I'm like, thank you. I don't blame you. And I'm really excited that you do not want to take that risk anymore.
I see tonight that there's quite a few without or that are riding with just a hat, not a helmet on the bull riding. So,
but JB might have rubbed off on him.
Yeah, I was gonna say JB was the only one on the first round that rode without a helmet. Then he also kind of got brainerd a little bit, but you know.
yeah.
That's a risk you take, I guess.
That's a risk you take. You know, like I got a guy that I know. His name's Bobby Welch, and he's a really good bull rider. And I think he did a little time in the pen and kind of got away from it, but he's out now, and he's a super nice guy. I like the shit out of him, but
bull rider.
He was like, he's like, used to, like, we would wear like hockey helmets, like when the helmets first started, like they didn't have bull riding helmets, like they didn't even make them. And he's like, I started trying to ride with a helmet because that's what everybody was doing. And he's like, man, it would just throw your balance completely off because this helmet was so freaking heavy, you know, and like you're wearing like a goalie helmet, and he's like, it's ridiculous. Like you just, but now they're lightweight, you know, and they don't weigh near as much. And he's like, they're not much different than wearing a hat, but when they first started wearing them, he's like, I threw that son bitch away. I was like, I'll wear my hat and take the risk. I can't even stay on one with that damn thing on my head.
Oof. JB, he got launched, but it didn't hurt him.
Well, that's good.
He landed on his ass. It was about 5 seconds in, and that sucker spun into his hand, and then, got him off, and then boom, bucked him off out the back, and then went ahead and just gave him a little see ya.
Little hip shot.
Yeah, just a little whoop-de-doo.
I'm gonna let you off right here.
Yeah. Just let me help you on your way. Boop.
There was a guy last night that I can't remember who it was, and I mean didn't even get one jump. Like that bull.
Right out the chute, right?
Yeah,
I saw that dude.
Moved out of the rope, and I was like, "Gosh, damn, that has to be like the most embarrassing thing for a bull rider." And you could tell he was like pissed about it. And I'm like, but I mean, God dang, those bulls are so stout. Like, that is gonna happen. Like, I mean, definitely didn't look down on him. And that guy's, like you say, I mean, he's good enough to make the NFR. He didn't just it wasn't a fluke.
He won a pretty good chunk of money to get there. So
yeah, he didn't just pick the right card and get to go. He put the work in. And but I mean, I don't know, those bulls are like, nowadays you look back at the old school bulls, like they were big and stout, but these bulls are like so much more athletic nowadays. Like it's just crazy how they can just like what they can do. Like,
well, it's again, like it's you're comparing eras now. Like, like Bo. Oh, there you are. Your phone died. I'm guessing his phone died. Anyhow, NFR round 4. I think we figured it out. We got her. I don't know who won the bull riding. JB Mooney got bucked off. And hope you guys have a good week. Happy Monday. And on that note, move your ass. We're burning day.